The African Union is a continental body, and I guess the European Union is supposed to be a continental body. I use the word suppose because I know that there are some countries in Europe that are not part of the European Union. But there is a good relationship between the African Union and the European Union. For example, all the commissioners in the African Union have their counterparts in the European Union, and we used to meet. And then we also have the college-to-college meeting between the AU and the EU. In my department, the Department of Human Resources, Science and Technology, I have 3 divisions. They are education, science and technology, and youth and human resources. Under the youth and human resources, we have the relationship between the AU and EU Youth Hub. This Youth Hub, we first started in 2017 in Abidjan, where we have 17 youth from Europe and 17 from Africa. But this last year, they formed the African Union, European Union Youth Hub of 42 youth, 21 from EU and then 21 from the African Union. And these youth have been able to come up with 6 thematic areas where they speak to the challenges of the 2 continents and they not only bringing out these thematic problems, but also offering solutions to those thematic problems. My role, I'm the Commissioner for Human Resources, Science and Technology. And as the Commissioner for Human Resources, Science and Technology, we are supposed to, my mandate is to develop for human development, capacity building. And this capacity building comes in the areas of education, in the areas of science, technology and innovation, and of course in the empowerment of the youth of Africa for sustainable development. And under that, these 3 acts that I've given you, education, science and technology, and youth and human resources, that we have continental strategies and continental policies that speaks to these issues. And my mandate is to make advocacy, create awareness, and move the continent or the member states to respond to these continental strategies that are actually the decisions of the assembly meaning the head of states, and the executive council meaning the foreign affairs ministers of all the 55 member states that make up the African Union. And then recently we had from April 24th to April 27th, we had the Pan-African Youth Congress. It's actually an initiative of the chairperson of the African Union Commission, His Excellency Dr. Musa Faki Mahamat. And under this initiative, we put it hashtag Africa Unite for Youth. It's not the youth uniting for Africa, but it's hashtag Africa Unite for Youth. If Africa has to unite for youth, they must make sure that we have the right kind of infrastructure and the right kind of instruments that can capacitate our youthful bulge. 65% of our population are made of youth. So it is important for us to use this demographic asset in order to make sure that Africa is transformed. It is Nelson Mandela who said that education is the greatest weapon that can transform the world. And I believe so much in that because I'm a professor and I was a former deputy vice chancellor of a university. And I believe that if you give the right training to the kids of Africa, they will give you the results we want. If we say that our youth are our walking sticks tomorrow, then we need to make sure that we have the right foundation. Yes, young people are the future and they are the present. I would not say they are just the future. Today, we must begin to put the infrastructure. 2063 is not far from here. You need to train them. You need to give them space. And that is why the chairperson of the African Union Commission says, you take the microphone, speak, tell us what you want, and then we'll be able to execute what you want. We don't take decisions for them. You don't feel them. It is an idiom, English idiom that says that he who wears the shoes knows where it pinches. So how do you know where it pains them from? We need to do that because you see the continuous migration problem. The youth of Africa dying in the Mediterranean. Some of them getting into gangsterism because an empty and idle hand is a devil's workshop. That is why you find them doing that. Now, if you say that you want to empower them concretely. Do the things that can actually empower them. Seduce them to stay back home. And to seduce them to stay back home and not rush after the American dream is to give them the opportunities they are going to seek in America. And it's not difficult to do. We just need a paradigm shift. We just need more responsibility, more commitment, because leadership is a responsibility. In the history of the African Union, the chairperson of the African Union Commission, His Excellency Dr. Musa Faki Mahamat, wanted us to have a youth envoy on youth, a special envoy on youth. And then we did the application. 979 people applied for the job. And we had to take out of that 979, just one person to be the special envoy on youth. And the person must be under 35. And the person must complete the mandate with the mandate of the chairperson. And in that wise, we had very competent 247 women, and the rest were men who applied. And from that, we decided that, okay, we want a female to be the first ever African special envoy on youth affairs. And then from 247, they went down through the selection phases, and then they selected 23. From that 23, we had to choose one. And I'm proud to tell you that the person they chose is Miss Aya Shebi. Miss Aya Shebi is the first ever African youth envoy that we have. And she is a name on her own. Google her, you will see. She's a force to be reckoned with. And she's very, very trilingual. She speaks Arabic, she speaks French, and she speaks English. All these languages without an accent. And before she became the special envoy for Africa, she has won over 21 awards globally, not continentally. She has appeared on Mo Ibrahim. She is invited by UN to speak on different platforms. We have many of such in the Africa that we are talking about today. And to continue with her job, we also had 9 advisory board members. All these people are young people who have developed themselves and contributed and impacted on their societies. There are many of them who are actually the green light, but they were able to succeed because they had the opportunity to express themselves. So if they don't have the opportunity, you wouldn't see them. They will be dead, in quotes. But if we give them the opportunity, they will bloom like the flowers that we love to smell, you know. They will bloom, and then you can see the worth of the child or the worth of the African youth. There are many of them who are successful. Have been in this program on the Global Forum for Food, organized by Pragmata Institute, and then there's this Seeds&Chips. Have seen young African agripreneurs speaking intelligently, confidently, and they also have cash, they have money. So it is very impressive. So there are many of them who are successful, home and abroad.